Idaho Matters podcast is brought to you by St. Luke's On-Demand Virtual Care, which allows patients to see a provider from their home using a computer or smartphone with on-demand care for common ailments such as a cough, sore throat, or a sinus issue. More information at stlukesonline.org.
Do you ever feel like you just don't have the time to sit down and read the news every morning? Sometimes things get so hectic you can't even scroll through your feeds while you're trying to get ready. A podcast from Boise State Public Radio has you covered. I'm George Prentice, and I want to invite you to check out The Connector every weekday morning. You can get up to speed on all of the Idaho news you need to start your day without ever interrupting your morning routine. All you have to do is hit play. That's The Connector from Boise State Public Radio. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
More Idaho Matters now from the studios of Boise State Public Radio News. I'm Gemma Gaudette. As we continue our look at growth and farming in Idaho, one Caldwell farm has decided to protect their agricultural land for future generations. Peaceful Belly Farm was created back in 2002 by Clay and Josie Erskine, and they're big believers in sustainable agriculture using techniques like cover crops and drip irrigation and composting. And after watching the growth and development in Canyon County, they decided to put their 35-acre farm under an agricultural conservation easement to keep their land farmland. And after hearing about our Land and Legacy series, they sent us an email to share their story, and they're joining us today. Clay and Josie, it's so nice to have you on the program.
Thanks, Gemma.
Thank you.
So tell us about Peaceful Belly Farms. How did it get started?
Peaceful Belly started on a small acreage in Boise, Dragon Wing Farm, as a CSA farmer, a community-supported agriculture farm, and then we moved out to the Dry Creek Valley on rented land. And when we saw that valley moving from one land use to another, from ag into residential, we decided that we would take our farm to Canyon County, to the Sunny Slope, and we gained a partner, Tim Andrea, and now we are in the Sunny Slope, farming in Canyon County, and just love it.
And Clay, what exactly or what all do you grow and farm?
Mainly we grow vegetables for the Treasure Valley. We also grow like cut flowers, apples, and I make hard cider here at our winery. We do the Boise Farmers Market and CSA program.
And so many people know you for your flowers, for sure, Clay. But what else do you hope that people learn when they come to your farm?
Our farm is a really great way for folks that are out on the wine trail. They can stop in. We have a farm to fork restaurant, and Josie is the head chef. And so folks that come that may not necessarily know about our style of sustainable multi-crop farming come to just get some lunch and then wander out into our community garden, and we may have classes going on, or there's a you pick flower field, or lots of different activities, and they just get introduced into our style of market gardening and farming.
And Josie, you've really worked incredibly hard to create a sustainable farm. Can you talk more about some of the things you've done, but also why this piece of it was so important?
Well, we really think about our partnership with the earth on the farm. And in science, they may call those ecosystem services. So what are all the services that could be provided to you that are free, such as one would be spiders. We rely a lot on spiders for pest control. So we create a lot of habitat for spiders. Small birds, we rely on small birds for pest control. We create a lot of habitat for small birds. So there's this balance that we have here between what we would call like kind of the spirituality of the earth and being part of the earth and this science of the earth. Right now, our farm kind of smells like wine grapes. We collect all of the wine grapes from the wineries after they're pressed, and we create compost for our farm on it. So it's also this way of how does waste turn into gold is something that we work with on our farm or show the public. And then we do this Nurturing Nectaries program where we have the public learn about pollinator plants and school children learn about pollinator plants and connectivity of pollinators and the importance of pollinators, and then move that into school gardens or into home gardens. So it's this idea that all of ag, really has its fingers in all of the aspects of our lives and the importance of a piece of farm ground managed for humans and managed for
Mm,
wildlife can be beautiful for our whole community, for the wildlife, but also just to come wander and see what's happening.
mm. I want to turn now to what I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, and that is the fact that you have decided to put your farm under an agricultural conservation easement. So, Clay, can we start at that conversation out by you just explaining to us what is an agricultural conservation easement?
An agricultural easement, it's a legal document where we form a deed, and it protects the land that we're on for farming in perpetuity. So we worked with the Natural Resource Conservation Service and the Treasure Valley Land Trust to craft that deed. And what that says is that this land can only be used for farming, and it stipulates what can and can't be built or how the land can be used in perpetuity. So if even if the ground is sold, it follows
Hmm.
the land, so it will be a farm forever.
And Josie, when and why did you get the idea to protect your land in this way?
Well, Gemma, as someone that came into farming and didn't own land, I realized how the access to farmland was so hard for new farmers, and kind of Clay and I made a mantra for ourselves. If we ever own land, we're going to protect it. All of the land that we had farmed before wasn't protected, and it always felt that we could get a letter at any point from someone we were renting that said, we're going to develop this land. And we also felt that we had a moral obligation as caretakers. Clay was raised in the National Park Service. His dad was a ranger. And so he had that in his blood of land belongs to people. And I was raised
Hmm.
in Idaho, and I saw the work that Idahoans had put into to create these water systems that irrigated this land, and it felt like the land belonged to more than just Clay and I. And it's a very hard decision. It's hard financially, because it takes that development opportunity off the table from this land,
Hmm.
but it really made sense to who we are and what we hope our legacy is to this world is this little piece of land that can grow food for perpetuity. That's our hope.
Clay, are there any challenges of having an easement like this?
Yeah, it was a process to go through just to jump through all the hurdles. It's a federal program, and so there's lots of requirements. The federal government wants you to make sure that the deed that you sign and put in place is adequate for the easement and to make sure that it's protected. Um, so it is something that is cumbersome to take
Hmm.
on as far as a paperwork kind of thing. And then I just wanted to say that it does relieve a lot of tension as far as how we deal with the land itself. It seems like the land is is giving back more now that there's not this potential development encumbrance on it. It's almost celebrating the freedom itself. And so it's this interplay between us caretaking the land and then the land reciprocating back to us.
Josie, before I let you go, what's next for Peaceful Belly?
Well, Peaceful Valley has started a new nonprofit called Pull and Bolum, and we've recently, through Pull and Bolum, acquired the old mercantile in Houston, Idaho, which isn't really that far from where we're at, but it's probably nobody knows. But that's turning into an artist in residency program for this area that will host artists and scientists in that space to go through the life cycle of this valley and create ways to tell stories of this valley so that we can really preserve it in other ways besides just land and food, but also through culture.
Well, I want to thank both of you so much for reaching out to us and for being willing to come on the program and talk about all that you do and also explain agricultural conservation easements to us. Really appreciate your time today. We've been speaking with Clay and Josie Erskine. They are owners of Peaceful Belly Farms in Caldwell. We've been talking about their farmland that they have put under an agricultural conservation easement. And remember, you can hear all of the stories in our Land and Legacy Farming in Idaho series at our website, boisestatepublicradio.org. We've also always put them in podcast form, as we do with all of our episodes. So wherever you listen to podcasts, you can also listen to Idaho Matters and our Land and Legacy series there. This is the Idaho Matters podcast. I'm Gemma Gaudette.
Sources and methods, the crown jewels of the intelligence community. Shorthand for how do we know what's real? Who told us? If you have those answers, you're on the inside, and NPR wants to bring you there. From the Pentagon to the State Department to spy agencies, listen to understand what's really happening and what it means for you. Sources and Methods, the new national security podcast from NPR.